Atlanta 911 operator 7731. What's the location of your emergency?
Hi, I'm at, hold on one second. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I am at 99 Krog Street.
You need police, fire, or an ambulance?
It's, someone broke into my car.
Okay. Are you at a business? Parked at a business?
No, I was parked at in a garage while I went to a restaurant, but they stole, like, my computers and everything, but it has a tracker on it.
What
so
level
I
of the
can
parking
see
lot? Okay. What level are you on?
On the main level.
What kind of car do you have?
It's a rental. It's a Wagoneer.
What color?
Black.
Do you have an address of where your computer is?
So it's
Yeah.
following them because it's on Find My iPhone. They have my computers, and it's really, really important information in there. Like, I work with someone who's, like, of a high status, and I really need
what's
my
your
computer
name?
and everything. It's under.
That's a good callback number for you.
Yes.
All right. We'll get an officer out there as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's unpack this deep dive. Our mission today, it's really about going beyond the typical details you'd find in a police report. We've got just one source, but it's fascinating. An official Atlanta Police Department incident report. It's dated July 8, 2025. And what seems, on the surface like a pretty straightforward theft from motor vehicle at Krog Street Market, well, it quickly turns out to be much more complex and frankly pretty high profile. We want to pull out the really unique, maybe surprising bits of this specific incident and see what it tells us.
Right. And what's really striking about this report, I think, is how that initial label, theft from motor vehicle, it really undersells what actually happened.
Yeah, it doesn't capture it at all.
Not really. So the document, it details an incident between, 8:09 p.m. and 10:00 p.m. on July 8th, 2025.
Okay.
Happened at the Krog Street Market parking deck in Atlanta. A 2024 black Jeep Wagoneer had its trunk window damaged. Smashed, basically. Which, that happens all the time, right?
Exactly. That sounds like the start of, almost any report like this. Pretty standard stuff. But then you look at the victims listed, Christopher Grant and Diandre Blue, and that immediately signals this is far from typical. So who are they? How does their involvement kind of elevate this beyond just a routine car break-in?
Well, that's the key question, isn't it? It raises this whole issue about the real value of what was targeted. Christopher Grant, he's identified in the report as a choreographer for the musician Beyonce.
Okay, wow.
And Diandre Blue as a dancer for her. So right away, this just catapults the incident profile, puts it squarely in the world of global entertainment. It really highlights how even seemingly, mundane crimes can suddenly intersect with really high stakes intellectual property.
Right. So definitely not just about a lost wallet or some loose change here. What specifically was taken from their Jeep that made this so significant?
Not at all a lost wallet situation. The report lists, a MacBook Pro, some Apple Max Pro headphones, AirPods, a Kumi book bag, Tom Ford sunglasses, 3 pairs of shoes. Kind of standard high-value personal items. But the really critical items, the things that changed the game, were 5 jump drives.
Jump drives, okay, like USB sticks.
Exactly, what most of us call USB drives. And these drives, according to the report, they contained, and this is crucial, watermarked music, unreleased music, footage plans for shows past and future, and set lists. And specifically, a Beyonce set list was listed among the stolen items.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so this isn't just theft of things. It's a direct hit on incredibly valuable, unreleased creative assets for, one of the biggest artists on the planet. It's such a striking example of how digital vulnerability can actually be rooted in a very physical act.
It's almost a twist, In this age where everything's supposedly in the cloud, secure servers, digital delivery, the vulnerability still came down to someone, like breaking a car window to grab physical drives holding irreplaceable content. So given those stakes, what kind of investigative steps did APD prioritize? Did they get any immediate leads, track the items, or suspects?
Oh, they definitely prioritized it. The report indicates the stolen laptop was actually pinging.
Yeah.
Sending out location signals.
Right. Find my Mac, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And the AirPod Max Pros were doing the same thing, which is fascinating, right? These common consumer gadgets with their built-in GPS and Wi-Fi tracking, they basically turn into these unexpected digital breadcrumbs for the police.
Yeah.
Even when the data on the devices is the real prize.
So the tech in the stolen goods help track the goods themselves.
Precisely. Officers used this tracking data. They conducted what the report calls a suspicious person stop in an area where the AirPods were pinging. Now, apparently multiple cars were initially pinging nearby, but they narrowed it down to a silver Hyundai Elantra. They tracked this Elantra moving at the same time, basically, as the AirPod signals into what the report calls Zone 5. This car, driven by an African-American male, was flagged in their system. They also, did the standard crime scene work. Dusted for prints, got 2 very light prints, and confirmed the parking deck entrance cameras caught the incident.
Okay, so they had tangible leads on the physical items, the devices themselves. But this brings up such a fascinating point, something for you listening to consider. Despite all the digital defenses artists and their teams use, encryption, firewalls, secure servers, this incident just vividly shows how the most valuable digital assets can still be incredibly vulnerable. Vulnerable through surprisingly low-tech physical ways, like smashing a window. It really highlights this critical paradox of our digital age.
It's exactly right. This specific theft, because it involved unreleased music and actual show plans, it just underscores how physical security often remains the weakest link. The weakest link in that whole chain of protecting intellectual property. Artists, production teams, they pour immense resources into creating and then safeguarding these digital works online. But if the physical media holding them, like those jump drives, gets compromised, well, then all those digital barriers suddenly become kind of irrelevant, don't they?
Yeah, completely bypassed.
It really forces a fundamental rethinking of how physical security even applies when we're talking about digital assets. And the implications, they definitely stretch beyond just this one incident with Beyonce's team. It suggests a real need for heightened vigilance, not just online, but in the most mundane, everyday places, cars, bags, hotel rooms, wherever these invaluable digital blueprints might physically exist, even temporarily.
So when we step back and look at the bigger picture, what does this all really mean? This incident, it was a localized theft from a car in Atlanta. But it illustrates this critical modern paradox so clearly. Even as creative work gets more and more digital, its most valuable forms can remain surprisingly vulnerable to, frankly, pretty basic physical theft. It really forces artists, their teams, maybe all of us, to fundamentally rethink what physical security means in a world driven by digital information. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how crucial simple real-world vigilance still is, especially when you're trying to safeguard the most intangible yet incredibly precious assets we create.